right, you have Chancellor's reports.
Good evening, Board of Trustee members, colleagues, friends, and the public. As we have done in the past, I'd like to start with our president's reports, and then I just have a few comments. And I'm going to just start from my left going to the right, and I will start with Merritt College, followed by Laney College, Berkeley City College, and then bringing up the end of the presidents will be Acting Vice Chancellor of Finance and Administration, also President of College of Alameda for one more day, pending the vote of the board tonight, Dr. Nathaniel Jones III. So, President Johnson.
Thank you. President Napoli Abella Reese, Board of Trustees, Chancellor, Peralta family, and community members, good evening. Having passed the census date and completed the first few weeks of the fall 22 semester, we're pleased to report that the Free for Fall campaign is having a positive effect on the enrollment and morale at Merritt College. Given the number of late start classes and dual enrollment classes that we still have in the schedule and that are yet to be counted, we expect to surpass our FTS total from fall of 2021. We can also report that we're now serving roughly between 250 and 300 free breakfast meals every week to our students. So that's a very good thing. And finally, the Free for Fall campaign has yielded, and in my original report, I had one number, but as of yesterday, that number has gone up. It has yielded a 29% increase in the number of students who are applying for the FAFSA and taking 12 units at Merritt. So it looks like we're making a bit of a splash, but stay tuned for what we have planned for spring 2023. Next, last Thursday, Merritt College was proud to partner with the East Bay Consortium to host its annual financial aid training, which was co-sponsored by the Student Aid Commission of California and the California Student Opportunity and Access Program. We had over 120 counselors, outreach specialists, student advocates register for the event, and they received essential information on how best to assist the students they serve in applying and completing the financial aid process. We were also able to provide the folks with a comprehensive overview of the FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, and the California DREAM Act application. And the overarching goal for all of this was basically to equip our high school partners with the information and resources necessary to guide students through to their transition to Merritt College or one of our sister colleges, because we're collaborative, so it's not just about Merritt. I want to say that. So finally, it's my sad duty to report that for the second time in less than 3 months, we lost a beloved member of our Merritt family. So Jim Gordon, who worked as a principal library technician, he passed away last Tuesday. He succumbed to injuries sustained after being hit by a cyclist while walking near his home in Sausalito. As his wife shared with me last week, we can only make sense of this tragedy knowing that the organs and tissues he donated are helping to save the lives of others. Jim came to Merritt College several years ago, and he immediately became a beloved figure on campus. He's funny, caring, sharp as a whip. And I actually got to know him a lot better over the last 2 years during the pandemic when there were very few people on campus. He and I would spend a lot of time together. He was responsible for giving students their Chromebooks. He was the one, when he would see students wandering around, would go and help them. He was a very, very generous soul. We spent a lot of time talking about our love of Cal. He was a history enthusiast. And when I spoke to him the day he passed, I didn't, obviously in the morning, I didn't know that was the last time I was going to speak to him, but I think we all take comfort in being able to remember him so fondly as such a kind and dignified man. So Jim, we miss you. We love you. And that concludes the report from Merritt College.
Thank you, President Johnson. You can stay with that.
Good evening, Chancellor Jackson, President Napoli Abel-Reese, members of the governing board, students, colleagues, and valued community members. I'd like to start off my report this evening by expressing what is the most important of emotions, and that is appreciation. Appreciation to all within the Laney community for coming together to really boost our efforts with the Fall is Free campaign and to come together to work on strategic planning as we have. And also amidst all this hard work, also showing some flexibility during this time when we've had challenging conditions with our buildings. During this time, the Office of Facilities and Campus Operations, along with administrative services, has been working to assess our buildings and the conditions. And we've been vigilant in making sure that when conditions warrant that we either move employees or have them work remotely. So it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of flexibility on a part of our employees. And I just wanted to start my report this evening by recognizing that. Within your written report, I'm just going to highlight a couple things. First, on the second page of your report, this is a vibrant time at Laney College, but it's also one of scholastic and academic achievement, even among our employees. Seems regularly I hear about employees that are completing a master's or a doctoral program. And in the case of Professor Mark Razan, he actually is in the midst of a fellowship awarded to only 10 community college faculty members in the state with Stanford University. And in addition to that, he was honored with the Paul Covell Environmental Education Award over the summer. So I just wanted to congratulate Mark on that. Also very pleased to share that Laney College is now a member of the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. This is significant because it means more scholarships for our students. It means more professional development for our employees. And it also means on a level that I think touches all of us, more advocacy for our students, and which is something that is tremendous. At the end of last month, we were very privileged at Laney to host the Oakland Mayoral debate. And it was great to welcome Trustees Jenkins and Handy to the proceedings and to make a new partner in the Center for Elders Independence, who facilitated and hosted the debate that was shown on both the local Fox and CBS networks. The community, including all, I believe it was 9 or 10 candidates and people in attendance, were very excited about the buzz that was at Laney. And also there was a lot of appreciation expressed about our Fall is Free campaign. And I'd like to segue to that right now, actually. Why do the Fall is Free campaign? I know that maybe a lot of what you've seen in the headlines has been about tuition, and that really does get people's attention. But what has been going on that is important and hopefully will last has been the attention to student basic needs, attention to those costs for college that go beyond tuition and meeting them, okay? In addition to that, for supporting students and students supporting themselves, awareness of the FAFSA application or the DREAM Act paperwork, and making sure that students understand and have the support and guidance they have to submit that paperwork so that they can receive aid. There has been such positive return on this. Among those completing the FAFSA, we have seen an increase of nearly 1,000 students at Laney College compared to a year ago at this time, who have completed their financial aid application. In terms of enrollment, we have seen 13% more students than we did a year ago at this time. We have 9% more enrollments in classes than we did a year ago at this time. And in terms of FTES, we have 157 or 7% more than we did a year ago at this time. This is also something that is really helping serve our disproportionately impacted populations of students. Our African-American student numbers have increased. From a year ago at this time now, they've increased by 2.7%, and in comparison to last spring, over 3.25%. Also, among our Latinx students from a year ago at this time, we've seen a 1.35% increase. And this is something that is very important because it gets us closer and into eligibility to submit an application to become a Hispanic serving institution. So that's something that has been great. Within your board report tonight, you can see that our efforts were featured in an article done by Cal Matters that focused on colleges around the state that are offering free tuition or having programs such as this. In addition, in something I handed the board tonight, the college was featured in the Oakland Post newspaper. We actually made the front page. And on top of that, on the 16th, an interview with me will be featured on KTSF, Chinese language TV. So all of that is something that is very exciting. But beyond the coverage, our community appreciates it. At the Multicultural Chambers of Commerce reception event that was also attended by Chief Earl Roberts, there was appreciation expressed by our community. Also at the Oakland Chinatown Street Fest, there was also a room and appreciation given for the Fall is Free campaign. And then also last week at the Ebaldsey fundraiser for housing, there was recognition of it by many members of our community who appreciated us coming out. So it has been exciting. It's really been a buzz, and we look forward to continuing this positive momentum with many classes starting this week and several more on October 18th as well. I'd like to close my report tonight by the other thing that I handed to the board this evening. On September 2nd, in the Laney College Art Gallery, there was an art exhibition called Dream Roots, Tus Recetas, or Recipes. It was an intergenerational exhibition that explores strategies of connection between youth, adults, and elders of the Fruitvale community. And the event uses recipes as a point of departure, and the exhibit captures different flavors of the Fruitvale district. While within the exhibit itself, artists created and displayed drawings, paintings, sculptures, and videos. What I've handed you this evening is another cookbook that actually shows the recetas, or the recipes that were part of this exhibit. And on September 26th, there will be a film premiere of Tus Recetas as well at Laney College. This is something that, like so many things in our district and our college, have been innovative and have shown just the wonderful, vibrant energy of our community. And I would like to thank Professor Robert Abrams, Department Chair Mary Catherine Bassett, Dean Beth Meyer, and the many artists that turned out for this event, which was and has been a huge success. This concludes my report for this evening.
Good evening, President Napoleon Bellarese, Chancellor Jackson, trustees, colleagues, and community members. In addition to the written report that's in your board packet, I would like to highlight some happenings at Berkeley City College. As one colleague recently shared, Berkeley City College is colleging. So yes, we have turned college into a verb because there's much engagement both on campus and online. And I could not be prouder of the collective work across the college to make the start of this fall semester so incredible. Since last week, when we provided the written report, BCC has grown from a head count of 5,814 students to 6,044 students with the commencement of some of our late start classes. And we are still expecting a few more. As of this morning, the 6,044 students are enrolled in 10,681 classes across the BCC curriculum. And we are at 81% of our target for FTES. So we're at 1,272. And just for reference to the community, that FTES is full-time equivalent student. And this is something that is not unique to BCC. We are definitely seeing, as my fellow colleagues have already shared, either growth or stability in enrollment. In the report, you will find disaggregated data on BCC students from age groups to sex, race, ethnicity, part-time versus full-time enrollment. And you will also see that BCC African American, Latinx, and Asian American Pacific Islanders have either experienced a growth in enrollment or remained constant during these pandemic years. And given the focus of the board to continue diversity, equity, and inclusion, and ensuring that the decline is not disproportionately impacting historically minoritized groups, we're proud to share that that's not taking place on a local level. And these data are being shared broadly across the college community. We are very proud of the collective work that we're doing to support students not only to access higher education, but also to persist and complete. We are feeling pretty relentless and on a mission that we want to encourage students who are currently enrolled in the fall to continue the path and stay enrolled in the spring, as well as invite new community members to join us in spring. So future reports will include cross-collaborative efforts with faculty, classified professionals, administrators, and students. As you have heard, Fall is Free is in full swing. So Fall is Free at BCC has channeled the very best of BCC with intentional collaboration across the campus. So the written report highlights key colleagues who have successfully led and implemented these programs around enrollment, financial aid, counseling, registration, and including the work of our student ambassadors. So our report even has quotes from some of our students as they are really fielding a lot of the first line questions, both virtually and in person when students enter the doors on Center Street. And new students, I've had the chance to meet our, everything from recent high school valedictorians to adult learners coming to school now that their own children are of school age and in school, as well as returning students staying on the path. So I am enjoying seeing more students and connecting with them, and just really believe that BCC is colleging in full force. So I know that our team has really embraced that, this notion of colleging. You have heard in previous reports that I usually share about what happenings around shared governance. And so we're 5 weeks in and our shared governance committees are up and running and meeting. Our ongoing work, especially around institutional effectiveness and accreditation, has included this thoughtful, comprehensive self-evaluation of our governance process. And so this past week, one of essentially an outcome of this is that the College Roundtable voted to support an Education Master Plan Steering Committee to provide oversight and guidance to our EMP process this year. And we are taking an unconventional approach as to how we ask ourselves the question about what the future of BCC should look like for the next 5 to 7 years. And we have engaged in asking ourselves what it looks like to be a community college that will contribute to ending poverty, as well as what it would look like to mitigate and repair the impact of gentrification in our local community. And I have to tell you that the discussions and the sessions in Dreaming Out Loud have warranted a lot of good ideas and focal points. So I look forward to sharing those updates. I have 2 more items. Today, Radio 2050 podcast launched at BCC, hosted by 2 colleagues, John Sines and Camille Verbara, where they previewed upcoming Latinx Heritage Month events with guest Dr. Naomi Quiñones, who's a poet and historian, and Susana Prever Perez, who's a documentarian, who's going to be screening Simulacros de Liberación, which translates to Drills of Liberation. And this documentary highlights the 1868 uprising in Puerto Rico against colonialism. And this film is by Juan Davila. So we invite you on September 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at BCC to join us. And I must say, it seems that our BCC colleagues are giving President Besikof a little company in the podcast world. So hopefully you're able to tune in. And just in closing, as our ASBCC president, Mazen Saeed, shared in his report, I do want to share that we have 3 BCC members joining a delegation to represent the Peralta Community College District at the 2022 Congressional Black Caucus in Washington, D.C. later this month. So I want to give thanks to Ramona Butler, our EOPS coordinator, Mazen Saeed, ASBCC president, and Noel Ericue, student ambassador, who will represent BCC in the district as they meet with legislators during this time. This effort supports the ASBCC's work to engage voter registration and the overall BCC community to civic engagement. So with that, that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, President Garcia.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, trustees, President Reese, Vice President Polk, Chancellor Jackson, colleagues, and guests. It's my pleasure to provide the President's report for the College of Alameda. As is reflected in your board report. Okay, thank you. As reflected in your board report, I would like to start by mentioning a couple of things. Essentially, I've organized my thoughts around what I'm calling R squared, P squared. Essentially, reflection, recognition, planning, and performance. So on August the 19th, the College of Alameda held its Flex Day events. And what was unique, perhaps, is that it was the first time that we gathered together where many of us were actually in the same room with one another for Flex. And so even though we had the option for those members of our community to connect virtually, it was really, really wonderful to be able to have a large number of folks gather together to enjoy each other's company, but also to get some important information. During the Flex Day, the college administration, led by me, provided a State of the College address in which we highlighted accomplishments that we made during the previous academic year. We discussed what I call imperatives, and they included implementing continuous quality improvement. And also completing certain specific goals and objectives that needed to be attended to, including developing our new education master plan, designing strategies for ensuring enrollment recovery, continuing to align our budget process with the new resource allocation model, improving key student success and equity measures, and fostering a campus climate and culture that reflects inclusive excellence. Highlighting some of the accomplishments in our various areas, we look at, for example, in instruction. We streamlined our scheduling process to eliminate dynamically dated courses to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of our course scheduling. We created more intentional marketing efforts around availability of courses and used organized events such as schedule and data coaching retreats to enhance the skills of our chairs, deans, and other administrators to better utilize data to inform critical scheduling decisions. In our student services, we supported guided pathways. We also made changes to the website. We created and supported various on-campus events to engage students. We launched our call center, as well as other efforts in order to engage students and to ensure their success, to help them to recognize the fact that we care and are deeply committed to their success. We partnered more intentionally with our K-12 partner. We launched new learning communities such as Salam, and we implemented and leverage technology to higher extent with ConnectSed and other applications like our mobile app, as well as using one of the highest percentage of our HERF funds in terms of direct aid to students to support their learning and advancement of their objectives. Also, recently, as my colleagues have mentioned, all of us have made very, very intentional plans and actions related to enhancing our enrollment and trying to ensure that we are helping students to succeed by lowering barriers to entry and success towards completing their educational journey. College of Alameda had the 500 on Us campaign. We sponsored many Rock and Roll Day events to drive and to support students to fill out their FAFSA, register for classes, and get other needed support and assistance. To date, we have seen significant increases in enrollment with a high degree of productivity. We are projecting for the fall to land somewhere between 90 to 95% of our target. My colleague, Dr. Diana Barami, will be serving as acting president and will provide next time a detailed assessment of our enrollment and what we have accomplished to date and what we expect to accomplish for the rest of the year. As you may recall, a good percentage of our courses are late start courses as well, so we have more room to grow. Plus, we will do an intersession, which counts towards our full goal. That's why we're saying we're right now at 81%, like our colleagues. Not that we compete with one another, don't get that idea at all. It's all friendly competition, but nonetheless, we'll be at 90 to 95%. So on that somewhat tongue-in-cheek note, I will end my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Thank you, President. Appreciate that. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. One is the announcement to save the date for our strategic planning charrette. For those of you that don't know what a charrette is, it's basically an intensive planning session where we bring in citizens of our community, designers, collaborators, and we work on a vision and we develop that in concert and provide instant feedback so that the individuals that are stakeholders allows for them to feel like they're a mutual author of our strategic plan. So the time is from 9 to 2 and it will be at Laney College. More information to come. And if you know of any individuals that you'd like to participate, please contact my office and we will put them on the mailing list, November the 10th. Looking forward to that. West Ed is helping us with that process. So again, our MCPR will be also working on getting out some flyers and documentation. Another thing that we are working on right now, I've seen a draft and I want to give kudos out to Mark Johnson and his staff for getting our annual report close to being completed. It's looking very good. We haven't had one of those probably in ever. I joke, but I really did look for one and I couldn't find one. So It's been more than a few years to get that out, because I think we tend to forget about our successes and lament over what our differences are. And I think sometimes it's good to put it in perspective and to reflect on that. And that's also something that we will be distributing to the individuals that are part of the charrette. The last thing, and I usually don't do this, but I noted several individuals that made presentations tonight from our retirees. And I just want to reassure them that the board has made it very clear to me and to our negotiation team that we are not breaking our vow, as someone said, that we are committed to having a Medigap plan that the district will pick up, so we don't have to go searching for different plans. The district will do that, but we will not leave anyone behind. The plan, as was pointed out, is for individuals that are currently working, not really for retirees, but the commitment has been made by this board, and I stand behind that commitment that we will not leave our retirees behind. So I just wanted to put that out in the public forum because there seems to be a lot of misinformation that's out there. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor, especially for making that last statement. And again, President's always wonderful to hear the exciting news that's happening at each of your colleges, and also very excited to hear about the competitive enrollment increases that you all are sharing with us too as well. It's going to be a fantastic 22-23 for sure. All right, let us move on. Let us go to the next agenda item, which is 5.1, the first reading and review and presentation of